Been joined by Justice Abdullah. He's a private legal practitioner, he's a lecturer, and also with One Ghana Movement. And also Emily Nyero is with One Ghana Movement. Felicity Nelson is with the Fix the Country as well. And thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Lawyer, can you hear me? Good morning to you.
Yes, indeed, I can hear you. Good morning.
Fantastic. 1 minute to you. And watching and listening to our guest, what is the way forward? Your thoughts from the One Ghana Movement perspective.
Thank you so much. Indeed, I have listened to Dr. Norman, and I did listen to my good friend Manasseh Azuri, and I'm indeed inspired that not all is lost yet. We do have a long way to go, but there is indeed hope at the end of the tunnel. And we at One Ghana Movement believe that we can change the destiny of this country if we all work together and put our wheels on deck. The story and the narrative can change, and it will change indeed, giving the renewed sense of hope and patriotism that we are all bringing onto, in particular, the fight against corruption and the zeal to develop this country. We believe that renewed sense of urgency and the input being made by the youth of this country. Lately, if you listen across the media landscape, everyone is singing the same song. And that song is the patriotic song. The media in particular has been at the forefront of this, even though they've been bastardized and being vilified by expressions of various political personalities. But it stands to reason that we have a good chance to change the story of Mother Ghana. And for One Ghana Movement, we will never stop at any single minute to push this agenda. We will put every resources that we have, our human capital, as well as any other resources that we have, to the disposal of this country to ensure that we get to the point that we need to get to. Now, having said that, we do believe that corruption has been with us for quite some time. And we do believe that we have a very good opportunity with the necessary laws available at this moment to fight the canker of corruption and decadence. We do not think that we need new laws. Our belief, first of all, is that the one thing that lacks and that has allowed the perpetuation of corruption in particular and all forms of decadence in this country has always been the political will. The political will has been the biggest bone, the biggest being in the fight against corruption. We were hoping that with the incoming of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, the narrative was going to change in this angle as well. Unfortunately, a lot of things happened, for which reason we are not there yet. However, we do not think that it is all lost yet because there are still enough opportunities. We did not think that we needed the Office of the Special Prosecutor anyway to get to where we need to get to. However, the complement of the Office of the Special Prosecutor can only make things better for us.
Certainly.
We do admit that the decoupling of the Office of the Attorney General and the Minister of Justice was the biggest, was probably the biggest solution to the fight against corruption.
Wonderful.
But that would have been the only way out, indeed, because we also admit that the appointment of the security agencies by members of the executive, in particular the president, is also part to blame for the problem.
Justice Abdullah, thank you very much for this. And I really, really do appreciate your input. And certainly the solution has to start from the top. If the rottenness starts from the top, you cannot expect the solution to start from the tail. We all have a role to play, but greater responsibility lies with leadership.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Let me go on to Felicity Nelson with Fix the Country. Felicity, thank you so much for joining us on Zoom.
Hi.
Justice Abdullah, don't leave us as yet. Felicity, let's go to you now. Having followed the conversation, where do we go from here? Where next? Felicity.
Okay, so first of all, I just kind of want to say that we as a country. So I guess my first question is, this conversation that we're having, who are we speaking to? Because the main people that need to be listening are the people in positions of power, so the leadership. They're the ones that we need to be speaking. They're the ones that need to be listening. And I'm wondering how many of them are watching, or if they're even bothering to tune in and, you know, pay attention to the things being said. Having said that, I don't think that this is good that we have this forum and that we're having this conversation, but we need to open it up. So in terms of the things that we've said, a lot of people have said great things on the forum, but the masses, how do we amplify their voices? In order to be able to fix the country, we need to engage the masses, because fix the country means different things to different people. So the problems that might plague me are not necessarily the problem that plagues someone living in a remote village, or a child going to school under a tree. You know, that it means different things to different people. So we need to ensure that at every level we're consulting with the people, and we're ensuring that we don't just make it a very limited conversation where maybe we have members of the elite, or, you know, middle class people dominating the conversation. Because the masses are not middle class. The masses, that's not where the masses are. So I think it's extremely important that the government and people in positions of power start a process of engaging the masses. So it could be in the form of some kind of, one of the things that we're actually asking for is some kind of truth and reconciliation process. So not, you know, usually think about it in terms of if there's like a military regime and you want to speak about the injustices that have occurred under a military, but we're not just talking about that. We're talking about injustice. We want people to be able to talk about injustices within the health sector system, people who have maybe lost their kids due to the fact that their babies, due to the fact that there wasn't an incubator. Those people need to tell their stories. It's not just about stats, it's about putting human faces to these stories, so that people in positions of power understand the sense of the urgency in addressing the problems. We need them to, if you're talking about people, maybe their working conditions, the fact that people don't have are not being paid living wages that they can live on, rent control, the problems in rent control, how people are suffering under rent advances. So I want us to, for us at Fix the Country, the reason why we've shied away from providing like a definitive list is because we can't provide a definitive list. That is not our role. We are a call to action. We're asking that government sits up and listens and attempts to engage with the masses, with the public, and has a whole process of listening. They need to take their time to really properly listen. But of course, I don't understand why you would want to be in a leadership capacity if you don't know the things that need to be fixed. So that's even a problem on its own. But let's just leave that. But let's just focus on the fact that they need to start listening to the people and start putting measures in place. So it's not decentralizing the listening process. If they can go around the country to build manifestos, I want them to apply the same kind of mechanisms to going around the country to listening to people, what the issues are. But people have peculiar issues that they're dealing with.
Very important point that you make there, Felicity, and really appreciate the conversation that Fix the Country has started. And in fact, that's the basis for this forum that we're having today. And really appreciate your efforts on this. Emily is with One Ghana Movement. Emily is joining us as well on Zoom, connecting with us. Emily, a minute for you, Alfred. And the way forward, going forward, your thoughts in a minute.
Okay, so the way forward, we're talking about the various sectors and what the problems are. I want to look mostly at our unemployment. What's the way forward? Mami gave a very robust speech on what our problems are in our education sector and how we should go about it. I think that one of our major problems is not being able to, our education system not being able to match up our skills, or not looking at practical aspects of it. So yes, a lot of people may have some degrees, a master's degree or 2 or 3, but the actual practical aspect of their education is totally lost on them. And those are some of the problems that we need to be able to solve, looking at how to fix the problem of the country. If we're able to solve problems in various sectors, also like Felicity said, to go to the grassroots, to be able to engage the people on the ground, to speak to them, to find out what are the basic needs of the people? Again, like she said, as a ruling leader, you should know what the needs of the people are. So if you do not know that, that is a problem on its own. But then to be able to speak to the people, if it's town hall meetings you are going to have, to get to the people, speak to them, find out what the needs of each people in whatever sector it is, that will help us. We always talk about entrepreneurship and we make it seem like it's something very easy, something everyone can go into. But the entrepreneurs will tell you it is not an easy thing to do. It's a very difficult task. So again, Mami mentioned SMEs being empowered. How are we going to empower these SMEs with the high tax rates and also with high interest rates with the loans in the banks? So all these are things that if you take all the sectors that we're spoken about, you look at healthcare, you look at security. In the past week, we've had a number of people report about armed robbery situations in their homes, in their offices, even out on the streets as they are moving about their day-to-day life. We cannot sit and say that the national security system of Ghana is robust, is great, and it can be compared to other security systems all over the world. Yes, but what is the actual situation on the ground? What are the people feeling? How are we living our day-to-day lives with the security system? We don't feel safe. So we cannot just throw rhetoric about and say, oh, it's safe and our security system is good. If it's good, it should be able to translate into the lives of the people. So these are the systems that need to be built for us in Ghana to be able to have a good quality of life. That's what we mean. We at One Ghana Movement support this, fix the country. You know, when you talk about fixing the country, these are all the things that you look at when you talk about fixing the country. Giving the people a good quality of life.
Absolutely. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your thoughts in contributing to this all-important conversation. Emily Nyer, acting executive director of the One Ghana Movement, also joining us, some identifiable groups. And to you,